When you really start to check in with yourself and you start to notice, you realize, wow, these things are not just affecting me, but they're controlling me. They're controlling how I feel. They're controlling what I do or what I don't do. They're controlling what I believe about myself and the world and my potential and what I'm capable of doing in the future. Like, man, do we care about all of those things? And everybody we coach cares about those same things. And when you see all of a sudden, like, my God, there is something that's robbing that from me, taking that away from me, making me not believe in myself and not feel the way that I want to feel sometimes. Welcome to the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast, where we explore some of the truly difficult questions and challenges that parents and their families face every day. Whether it's the sometimes painful process of parenting teens and young adults, navigating relationships with your partner and children, or you discovering your purpose in relationship with yourself, we will bring heartfelt and vulnerable conversations to the table to support and empower you. Our mission is to help you create a lifestyle full of love, passion, adventure, and influence. Here we go. And we're back, everybody, with another episode of the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast. Erin is smiley today, which I love to see. My name is Chris, and I'm here with the sexy rock star, Erin Verdis. What's up, sweetheart?
Wow, I like it.
I like it, too. That has a ring to it that I think is going to stick.
I like it.
Erin has a lot of nicknames.
I do. A lot of nicknames around here. I'm doing great today. How is everyone doing out there?
Hope you guys are doing great. Thank you so much for tuning in. We always tout these episodes as being the best ever. Some of that's marketing, but usually it's true, right, Erin?
They get better and better
Yeah.
every week.
And so we think we've cooked up a really great episode, a really great topic, a topic that is probably, even though we've been teaching on this topic, Erin, for years, which is true, this is something that you came up with a long time ago. It is more popular and more important today than ever before.
Yeah, and you would think that, and we're going to reveal in just a moment here, but you would think this is really popular with parents.
Yeah.
This would be the most exciting part of our program for parents. But honestly, a lot of young adults really love this topic.
More than you would think. Because I
Yeah.
think a lot of parents, and we're going to unveil here in a second, like they think, no, what, my kids don't care about this stuff. They don't care about personal development and feeling better and being able to focus and be more productive. We think they don't care, but that's not true. Every day when we're talking to teens and young adults, they tell us they do care and that this is really important to them.
That's what I tell parents all the time is your kids are going to be so different with us than they are with you. And it's just the truth. And it doesn't take away from your connection and your relationship. Our kids are the same when they're with other people, other teachers, other therapists, other coaches. They're going to open up in a much different way.
Yeah, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's definitely different. And so, Erin, what is today's topic?
Today's topic, it's about standing guard at the gate of your mind. I always tee it up when I'm
wow, the way
coaching my
you said
girls.
that, wow.
I'm like, it sounds like a really big book title
It
or movie
does.
title. But really what it's about is, well, exactly what it says. It's about standing guard at the gate of your mind. It's standing guard at what you allow into your mind.
There you go.
Through the lens of a lot of things, but mostly content, movies, social media, even books, music, all the things that we watch and listen to and take in. It's to really say that we have so much more power and control over what those things are when we decide to be more intentional about it.
Yeah, so there you go. And let's just set the reality, which is from the moment that we wake up until the moment we fall asleep, we are consuming content.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now, 2026, there is content happening all around us. Movies and TV and mainly our phone, social media, texting,
Marketing,
constantly, sales, advertisements, the music we listen to, the movies we watch. And we know we're consuming some sort of content at some point. I mean, hundreds of times each day.
Yeah.
And what I think the majority of us don't realize is the effect that has on us. Not just short term, and there is a short term effect, and we'll talk about that, but also, even more importantly, the long term effect.
Yeah. Yeah, the content we consume, it influences, honestly, every thought we have,
Hmm.
conversations we have. It influences our relationships, the ideas we come up with, how we feel about ourselves, our beliefs. Truly, it has an impact on our identity at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think at the beginning of the day, I think what we're really talking about is that when you think about yourself, what we're trying to get to is a place where we feel good. We have energy, we believe in ourselves, we're able to do some of the things each day that we want to do. And then we start to think about, well, what are the things that are actually holding us back and preventing us from being able to do those things? A lot of times, the things that are making us not feel good in general or about ourselves, it is the content. If you really stop and think about it for a second, which, by the way, do we do this? Do we actually stop and notice how being on our phone makes us feel? And that goes for us, that goes for our kids, that goes for everybody out there. And the reality is we don't. And so that's kind of where it starts. And when you think about us being a gatekeeper, first off, we got to put somebody at the gate, because right now, Erin, there is nobody at the gate.
Right.
And that is a serious, serious problem for us and our kids and everybody we love and everybody in the whole country and the universe, right? The universe, the whole world, including the aliens out there,
Exactly.
apparently. And so if there's nobody at the gate, then we are at the mercy of all of this content that we're consuming, and there is no filter. And a lot of it, if not the vast majority of it, is negative. Let's be very, very clear. If you think about the news and the music and the movies, there is a lot of things that are negative, that are not helpful, that are not positive for sure, and that aren't making us feel the way that we need to feel.
Yeah, and if it's influencing so many things about ourselves, it's influencing how we talk to ourselves, the
Yes.
relationship we have with ourselves. This particular topic is a ritual that we teach in week 6 of our program, which is all about environment,
Hmm.
because this impacts our internal environment at such a large degree. Our thoughts, our inner dialogue with ourselves, how we
Yeah.
feel. And so those are the things, Chris, that you were saying. That's what makes us not feel good. That's what
Right.
drains our energy. And you're right, nobody even pays
No.
attention to it. And the truth is, you know me, I'm really big on self-responsibility. I'm really big on not being a victim. And so this kind of brings us back to being responsible for ourselves, teaching young adults to be more responsible for themselves. Parents having the opportunity when your kids are a little bit younger, even younger teens, to help decide what kind of content comes into your family and your home, which we're going to talk about that too here in a minute.
Yeah, I share this with parents and the kids that we coach every single day. Like, we're not anti phones, we're not anti technology, we're not anti social media, but we are anti anything that is making us not feel good or feel good about ourselves or preventing us from having great days, days that are meaningful and moving us forward and fulfilling, and all of these things that I think ultimately are important to us on so many different levels.
Yeah, and I want to say here, because this is something I also coach on when I'm teaching this, is that it's not always about feeling good all the time.
No.
We have to have polarity. We need that
Right.
contrast. I always talk about that 50-50 rule, that as human beings, we're going to feel amazing and full of growth and happiness and all those things that we desire 50% of the time.
Sure.
And 50% of the time, we're not. We're going to be down on ourselves.
Yeah.
We're going to be negative. But we have to learn to work through that to get to the other side so we know what that feels like. But the truth is, what we're talking about here is being able to slow down, like we talk a
Mm.
lot about on this podcast, being able to slow down, to pause, to check in with ourselves, and to notice how we're feeling.
Mm.
And that's the key here. When you can start being more mindful of, is sitting on my phone on TikTok for the last hour making me feel good? Is it giving me
Mhm.
energy? Is it bringing me to life? Is it giving me positive beliefs about myself and about the world? Or is it draining me? Do I feel nauseous? I don't, that's the word that comes to mind for me when I'm scrolling on my phone too long on anything, to be honest. I don't feel good. I feel
No.
nauseous. So it's being able to slow down long enough to ask yourself, how does this make me feel? Simple.
It is simple, but also very hard, because remember, this has been flowing, or all this content has been flowing uncontrolled, unfiltered for years. And so at this point, that itself is almost a behavior, it's a pattern. And to
Mm.
break that pattern, Erin is absolutely right. The only way is to develop this new habit of literally slowing down throughout the day and checking in with yourself, which you're right. We talk about that all the time. But checking in with yourself is not just becoming more present, it's giving you the power to actually start to notice all of these things around you.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many young women I coach that after working on this week with me in our coaching program, m- by the following week when we meet up again, they've made a solid decision to, some of them, get rid of social media off their phones
Mhm.
completely because they started to finally wake up to how it was making them feel. It was the culprit for so much negativity that was going
Yeah,
on in them. It was creating gossip and limiting beliefs and negative self-talk.
yeah.
At the minimum, some of the girls I coach at least start changing what they're scrolling. They're
Mhm.
changing who they're following, what influencers they're deciding to follow, because this is not about, and Chris hates this term, but throwing the baby out with the
There it is.
bathwater.
Erin's favorite
I don't know
term.
why I say that all the time. It is a
It's
strange
throwing the
term.
baby out with the bathwater.
But it's my way of saying we don't have to be extreme all the time.
Correct.
The pendulum doesn't have to swing so far in the opposite direction. It's about balance.
Yes.
It's about taking that inventory, zooming the camera out and really taking inventory of like, okay, what's going on here? What's on my phone? What music is on my Spotify? What movies
Mm.
am I taking? And what shows am I binging? Or any of these actually lifting me up, making me feel good, challenging my thoughts and challenging my beliefs about myself and life. And if not, it's probably time to balance that out a little bit and
Mm.
add some positive things in there. Add in a documentary if you're just watching action movies all the time. Add in a podcast on spirituality or business or personal growth if all you're doing is listening to influencers and watching influencers on fashion. So it's really just about balance. And so back to what I was saying is so many young women I coach end up really taking action on this. And I can't tell you how many come back to me a couple months down the road and say it completely changed. It changed their life.
Yeah, because ultimately it's this helpless feeling. When you really start to check in with yourself and you start to notice, you realize, wow, these things are not just affecting me, but they're controlling me. They're controlling how I feel. They're controlling what I do or what I don't do. They're controlling what I believe about myself and the world and my potential and what I'm capable of doing in the future. Like, man, do we care about all of those things? And everybody we coach cares about those same things. And when you see all of a sudden, like, my God, there is something that's robbing that from me, taking that away from me, making me not believe in myself and not feel the way that I want to feel sometimes.
Mhm.
And you're right, it's not about perfection. That's not what we're saying. Like, you're not going to all of a sudden get rid of all negative media and
Mhm.
completely quit your phone and
It's
all this
nearly
stuff.
impossible, to
That's
be
nearly
honest.
impossible, but it is about getting control back. It's about getting a little bit more choice involved in this process. And if you get more control and you start to get more influence over some of your choices each day, that puts you into a pretty good position because you're right. If you have a choice, then you can just ask yourself the simple question. You're checking in like, what do I need right now? What do I need?
Mhm.
Maybe you do need an action flick or a horror flick or something that's could be in certain situations not positive. Maybe I do need to spend time on social media for a lot of different reasons. We get it. Trust us. Like, we're open-minded parents. We try to be at least some of the time.
Mhm.
We get it. Do you need to be on social media? Sometimes, right? But not all the time. And not especially when you're doing it without even noticing that you're doing
I
it.
was going to say, it's not even just about being on social media. It's what are you taking in on social
Correct.
media? If you
Yeah.
look at my feed, for instance, it's filled with personal development and coaching and business and the things that are important to me, the things that I value, that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
That's really where it begins is first of all, asking yourself those questions. What is important to me? What's meaningful to me in
Yeah.
my life? What do I value? And are the things I'm taking in aligned with those things? I was telling Chris earlier, you'll rarely see me watching a violent action movie that's
Mhm.
filled with a lot of fighting and guns and stuff. Not because I'm anti everything. It's not lined up with me. I'm so much more about peace and harmony and kindness. And I just don't value those kind of movies. They're not for me. Now,
You're
do
missing out, Erin.
I know. Now,
No,
do
I'm
I
just
watch
kidding.
one once in a while
Uh-huh.
with Chris or, my kids? Of course I do. It's just nothing that you would
Yeah.
find lined up in my Netflix or anything like that. And summertime is such a fantastic time to really think about this and start
Yeah.
putting some of this into action. For parents who have young adults that are home for the summer from college, it's a great opportunity to just open up the conversation.
Hmm.
You know, you could simply ask, what kind of things are you following on social media? And
Hmm.
even make it more, as a parent, you could say, I'm starting to become a little bit more mindful about the stuff that I'm like scrolling on social media and stuff. What are you up to? And just
Hmm.
make it curious. Ask them to start thinking a little bit differently. It's just raising those questions. You also have influence over, hey, do you guys want to watch a documentary tonight? I started listening to this podcast. I thought you might like it. I'll send you an episode. Maybe you'd like it. Because we know with our young adults, we can't just come swooping in and I heard this podcast and we should get rid of all this stuff on our social media. But you can plant little seeds. You can come up with some ideas. You can influence them in a really subtle way.
I think that's a great point because we're talking about the effect that our environment has on us, has on our kids. Your kids, if they still live at home, guess what? They're in your environment pretty often. And no, you can't force things on them. That doesn't work. You can't control them. That definitely doesn't work. But what you can do is influence. That's a word
Mhm.
we have been using a lot and very intentionally because when you, as a parent, are intentional about the content that you're consuming, when you're intentional about the music you listen to, the movies you watch, your kids can either directly or indirectly be involved in that.
Yeah.
And so you are introducing them to your world. And by the way, there's a whole nother topic of you really starting to understand them or understand their world and helping them not make choices about what they listen to, but give them the tools to be able to make some of those choices. Because this isn't about you like to listen to rap music, which a lot of kids do. We understand. I listened to rap music when I was in high school.
Mm.
This is about understanding how that music or how those movies or how your phone is making you feel. It's about understanding, are these things in alignment with your values? Which, by the way, that's a word that we talk about a lot too. Because when we are helping you, the parent, we're helping your kids. One of the very first things we do to help people is we help you understand what's important to you, who you are, and what's important to you. That information is necessary or helpful so that you can make some of these different choices. So you can start to figure out what is some content that's in alignment with my values.
Yeah, because it kind of comes back to something Chris and I are so passionate about, and we help parents with this all the time is remember what you're modeling has such an
Yeah.
impact on your kids. For instance, I was just thinking, since my kids were little, I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. I always have been. And I would play Tony Robbins content in the car all the
Hmm.
time. And I'd get the eye rolls and they would have rather turned on their music. But I'm like, nope, this is my car and I need to listen to this.
Hmm.
Even now, when I'm driving Skylar to school in the morning, I have this app called Activations, which is just all these like positive pep talks and positive affirmations and mantras and things like that. And I'll play that in the car. And sometimes I'll tell her, I'm like, take your headphones out. Why don't you listen to
Hmm.
one with me on the way to school? And so she will. She'll give me 3 minutes and she'll listen to a pep talk with me. Then she'll put her headphones back in. So it's those little ways that you can plant those seeds, especially when they're a little younger. I know when our kids get to be 18, 19, 20, and into their later 20s, it can feel a little more challenging. But when they're younger teens, you absolutely have a say. I meet so many parents who think their 14-year-olds are like 20 already. And it's
I
like,
know.
no, you have impact and influence. You are allowed to say, this is allowed in my car, this is allowed in my home, and this is not.
Yeah. And we have to remember too that especially if we're talking about phones and social media, it's very addictive. And so a lot of us have an addiction to these things, which means that these things have a lot of control over us.
Hmm.
And so as parents, it's our responsibility to help with that. We can't fix overnight or anything like that, but the way that we help is we help them start to notice some of these things, maybe learn a little bit more about themselves so that they can start to understand that you do have a choice. You don't have to be on your phone all day. It may feel that way for various reasons. It may feel that way, but you don't. You don't have to follow the same content as your friends, which, by the way, that's very common, is they all follow the same reels and the same viral trends and things like that, even if they're not something that they believe in and are aligned with their values. They need to be the ones, or we need to be the ones to make those choices moving forward. Is this something that's going to help me move forward? Is this something positive that's going to make me feel good? Is this maybe connected to my future? Like personal development for us serves a lot of different purposes, right, Erin?
Mhm.
Like we listen to it to feel good, to get motivated, but it's also for us, it's learning and growing and learning new tools and a lot of different things that once again helps us in various different ways.
Yeah.
Now and then sometimes we want to veg out and we just want to listen to something mindless, whether it's movies or music or content. That's okay, as you said, as long as there's balance.
Yeah, and the other thing is they're not always going to understand, and that's okay. I think that's where parents get stuck sometimes is they
Yeah.
feel like their kids should understand everything all the time. My daughter gets I took it away for quite a while, all her social media. She had no TikTok, no Snapchat, and then I gave her back. She gets 2 hours a day. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's plenty at 14 years old.
Yeah.
And she'll say to me all the time, "None of my
More.
friends have any kind of time limit on their phones. They
Yeah.
don't have any time." And I am just no judgment. I'm
Not
sorry,
at
but it
all.
blows me away. I'm like, "Wow." And so she doesn't get it, and she gives me a lot of strife for it. But you know what? I just tell myself over and over again that she's going to be grateful someday. This will have such a positive impact on her, and somehow she'll be grateful.
And I think that's such a great point, Erin, because part of this is understanding that we don't want to be like everybody else.
Hmm.
We're unique and different. In order to really find your purpose and all the things that we love talking about, connect with your passions and learn more about yourself and your values and your direction in life, you can't do that if you're just following the crowd and you're always on your phone and going in this direction or that direction. You have to go in
Hmm.
your direction.
Yeah.
And the only way you can do that is by doing things differently. And so what you just said kind of emphasizes that this is what that's all about. This is about finding yourself and going in your own direction and not being on your phone all the time. And when you are, you're much more intentional about what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And so,
Absolutely.
Erin, so what do you think is the best way for us to send off parents today so that we give them some actionable tips and strategies for the week ahead?
For sure. So I would say, parents, you go first, right? Over this next week or even just the next couple days, take some of this and really put it into action. Start becoming more mindful, more intentional. Just start noticing when you are on social media, what you're scrolling. Notice how you're feeling, notice what you're taking in. Start being more mindful of what you're listening to and what you are watching because our kids pick up on that. They notice what we're doing. Trust me, they're watching.
Hmm.
And then if you have younger kids at home, make sure that you touch base with them. Really ask them what's going on with their social media. You're allowed to check their phone sometimes. It's okay to see what's going on. I think sometimes we bury our head in the sand because we don't want to know. And that's not okay, guys. I know it's hard, but check in on them
Yeah.
and then just create that conversation. And just remember, you have so much more influence and impact than you realize. So
Oh,
it's okay
absolutely.
to play a podcast in the car and tell them not to put their headphones in. It's okay to say we're going to have a family movie night and introduce like an inspirational movie, a motivational documentary or
Hmm.
something. Don't worry about the eye rolls and all of that. Trust me, they're going to thank you later. This kind of content that you start introducing into your home and your family is going to have a lifelong impact on them.
I love all of that. And I think when we ask that question, when you're checking in with yourself and you ask yourself that question, what do I need or what do we need right now as a family? You can start to brainstorm. What are some of those movies and what's some of that content and what are some of those things that we can do as a family or consume as a family that's more positive, that's more motivational? Maybe that's what you need right now.
What are some new messages that I
Yeah,
want my kids to hear?
correct.
Something that I do sometimes is instead of me preaching at my kids, I'll play a podcast
Yeah.
in the car that has that message that I'm trying to get through to them. And then they're like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Mom would normally say that, but I'm hearing it from this podcaster.
I love that. And I think you're not just then looking at the new releases that are on Netflix or your music. You're actually thinking about what are some different helpful things that we could watch together as a family right now or listen to as a family right now. It's not just what I love or what I always listen to. It's actually something more
Or
intentional.
what everyone else is doing or listening to, like you
That's the name.
said.
So that's the spirit of this. That's the name of the game. This isn't just continuing on the same trajectory. We kind of know where that's going to go. We're not necessarily saying it's going to go anywhere bad, but there are things that we can consume that can actually help us in so many different ways because we didn't talk about it a lot today, but we do talk about it historically on these podcasts, and that's our identity. is every little bit of content that we consume is building our identity for the better or for the worse. It's building us up, making more confident in ourselves, making us feel the way we need to feel so we can move forward and launch into our future, or it's actually tearing us down piece by piece by piece. And so that's the real reason we're here having this conversation today.
Absolutely.
All right, Erin.
All right,
This was a
babe.
great conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. There is so much more to look forward to. Erin and I have some plans to really take this podcast to the next level. We just met a couple of days ago about that. So look forward to seeing some of those changes coming in the near future. But most importantly, we love you. We appreciate everybody that takes their time out of their week and their day to listen to us, to be a part of our community. And we will see you next time. Take care.
Love you guys. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We are so thankful for you and your beautiful family and hope you found something inside today's episode that brought you hope, inspiration, and most importantly, a path forward. If you're interested in evolving your relationship, giving your kids the most important gift of personal growth and development, or are a mom looking to reconnect with your confidence and become empowered in all areas of your life, then schedule a discovery call with us today. Our mission is to help as many families as possible find their purpose, and that starts with you. See you in the next episode, my friends.